Hello again, and welcome to part 2 of this survey with more questions, points, and competition. I asked over 400 OSU players their stances on different questions, ranging from preferred OSU patterns to abstract game theory ones, testing a wide range of everyone's skills. This was done to once again answer who is the smartest OSU player. Before I asked any questions, I wanted to know the variety of responders, so I asked everyone where they were from, their main OSU mode, and their rank. Within these 408 responders, 176 were from Europe, 119 were in North America, 66 were in Asia, 25 were in South America, 21 were in Oceania, and 1 person was from Africa, leading to this very pretty geochart. The deeper greens show more people were from that country. Shout out to the Joker 2903 for being the sole representative of Africa. Before I get into the questions, the raw datasheet with the exact numbers is in the description for free access. Warning though, do not open it until you have finished watching this video to prevent spoiling the results to yourself. Anyways, let's get right into it with question 1. The first question was incredibly simple, asking everyone to pick between 2 buttons. One labelled pick this button, the other labelled to not. Those who answered in the majority of every responder would earn a point. 358 people successfully answered in the majority, earning them a point, leaving the other 50 with no point, meaning 87.7% of people got a point here. Here is everyone who did not get a point, but don't be ashamed. There is a lot more opportunity for points in the next few questions. Now, let's fast forward into question 2. Question 2 asked everyone to guess the percentage of people who picked the first button, which was previously stated as 87.7%. Those who guessed within a percent of the answer rounded would earn a point, from a range of 86 to 89%. This question was way more tricky, with only 15 people earning a point here. Congrats to all you 15. Here's a medal for your pinpoint accuracy. The other 393 of the responders did not guess close enough and got no points. Now, I don't know if there is some OSU bias, but why did 4 people independently put 72.7%? I guess we'll never know. Kama, Slep, Zircon, and Levenhook Lover, you guys must all be cheating and sharing answers. There did seem to be a correlation between pressing the minority button and guessing an extremely low percentage. Maybe they thought all the responders would be trolls, which a considerable amount of people were. Now, let's move on to question 3. Question 3 was probably the simplest question in the survey. A captcha, asking people to type what they saw. There was no tricks, and to get a point, all you would have to do was to type statistical correctly. However, a few people just simply misspelt the word, and others had different ideas. 7 people thought the L at the end was a capital I, leading to their point loss. Others, like Your QT2, also known as Romanowski, and Frown Player, believed the question had a different secret meaning, typing the captcha correctly, which sounded like a potential loophole, but it still didn't grant them a point. Also, what the hell did you 2 guys do, P_O and Atsorko? Why did you both write testicle? I think you both need to be sent to detention and spelling lessons, as that is not how you write statistical. All jokes aside, 388 people spelt statistical correctly, leaving the 20 other people in the dust with their amazing spelling skills. Let's move on to question 4, where the questions get more mind-gamey, difficult, and abstract. Question 4 asked everyone to pick an OSU client, laser or stable. But this time, answering in the minority would grant you a point instead. This result was a lot more varied, with an almost 50-50 split, favouring stable. So the majority 227 who picked it did not get a point, whilst the other 181 who picked laser got a point. This question was not the most interesting, as not following the hive mind led to a lot of guessing, but the other questions do redeem it. Now that that's out of the way, let's quickly go to question 5.
Hi, my name is Kellen and I'm an eligible single lady looking for an eligible single man.
Question 5 asked everyone to pick a colour on the Roy G. Biv scale, from red to purple. Answering in the majority or minority would grant you no points, whilst every other option would give you a point. If you said red with 46 people picking it, violet with 52 picking it, indigo with 56 picking it, orange with 60 picking it, and yellow with 67 picking it, you all got a point, leading to the small 44 people picking blue and the great number of 83 people picking green to get nothing. What made this even more intriguing was comparing this to the Osu Stats Discord server, which, upon arrival, asks you to pick a role colour with the same options, this time with no point gain or anything. This contrasted greatly, where everyone seemed to pick their own preferred colour without any thoughts of anyone else, with only 8 people picking yellow and a max of 31 picking violet, with these values in between. This showed how different the survey differed people's opinions on everyone else, as if there was no mentioned point gain on the survey. These numbers should be of roughly equal proportion. Let's go into question 6. Question 6 was quite interesting, asking everyone to pick how many points they wanted to earn, from 0 to 3. However, if you answered in the minority, you would get an additional 2 points, whilst answering in the majority would not earn you any points whatsoever. So what prevailed? Risk or greed? Risk did, with only 24 people picking the 0 point option, granting them an extra 2 points for being in the minority. 125 people picked 1 point, and 102 picked 2 points, each of them getting 1 and 2 points respectively. Sadly, the 157 people who wanted to be greedy and picked 3 points earned nothing, showing that in these scenarios, risk prevailed over greed. Now, let's see question 7.
There is no such thing as a coincidence.
Question 7 asks people to pick between one of 2 teams. If the majority picked Team 1, they'd earn 2 points, whilst Team 2 would get nothing. If the majority picked Team 2, everyone in that team would earn a point, whilst the people who picked Team 1 would lose a point. This question's choices were fundamentally identical, but was the wording convincing enough to shift people onto one side, to earn more points or lose some? Surprisingly, yes. With almost 3/4 of players picking Team 1, you 294 people earned 2 points, whilst the other 114 got nothing. This was a really interesting split to see, as the net point gain was the same on each side, but it wasn't a random 50-50 split. Maybe higher point gains are more enticing than seeing your other contestants suffer with losing a point. That's what I gathered at least. Let's now swiftly move on to question 8. Question 8 asks everyone to pick an integer number between 1 and 20, with the aim to guess what half of the average of everyone else's numbers would be. How did people go around this? Did they pick 10 to be in the middle, 5 as half of that, or did they pick 2 or 3 to half it even further? Well, the average of everyone else's numbers was 5.668, so halving that gave 2.834. Whoever wrote 2 or 3 got a point here. Well done to the smart 104 people who managed to score here. Sadly, 304 didn't. It seems like some people could not get a grasp of writing a suitable number, especially Fartpoo, who submit that. Unfortunately, that wasn't half the average, so you didn't score either. I'm so sorry. Let's move on to question 9. This question was incredibly complex, asking everyone to guess the number that was the interquartile range of everyone else's answers. For a refresher, the interquartile range is the numerical distance between the upper 75% of numbers guessed and the bottom 25% of numbers guessed. The numbers were a lot more over the place here, and some people simply didn't care, like Corset and Slep, who both just skipped the question, Castellano, who seemingly had a brain fart, or externalization, also known as atoxa, literally being too drunk to understand the question. But for the people who ventured on, what was the interquartile range? The lower quartile of everyone's answer was 4, and the upper quartile was 8, leading to an interquartile range of 4, which only 46 people managed to type. That was honestly way more than I expected, and the other 362 who didn't score here don't feel ashamed. Let's move on to question 10 and then have a halfway break, seeing who's currently at the top of our leaderboards. Question 10 was thankfully simpler, asking people to donate or keep points. If the majority donated, the selfish keepers would earn a point, taking a point away from the donators. But if the majority kept their points, the donators would get extra charity and earn 2 points, leaving the keepers with nothing extra. Very, very shockingly, however, most people donated, with 240 people donating their points to the 168 selfish keepers. Not everyone can win, it seems. Let's move on to our current highest and lowest point getters at the moment, and other fun bits of information on the leaderboard. We are now halfway through. Let's have a look at the leaderboard. I'm going to talk through the top places, then scroll down afterwards so you can see where you and everyone else lies. First, we notice the overwhelming amount of standard players occupying the top spots. Good job for standing out and repping your other modes, HKEFP, Lilybun, Quack 0428 and Essence. We also see a lot of high-ranked players, including Planbob, aka Plasma, who is the highest ranked standard player on our survey, at rank 43 at the time of writing this. Contrastingly, we have only one 6-digit, 1092384, in the midst of the others. At the top, we see 6 people are currently tied for top place. UU, MC Fix, Mirami Fox, Rhetoric, Misted, and Disorderium, shortly followed by 16 others with 1 point less. Looking at everyone's scores, everyone has lost at least 2 points, which means nobody will have a perfect score this time around. So well done to Fooders and Arnen for winning part 1 with a 100% score. You guys get to keep your status as some of the greats. I also just want to appreciate you, SnafuTX, for being the only one to not pick the correct button in question 1, yet still being amongst the best in the survey. Before we scroll down, thank you Xcores for suggesting that I be in the next Decade video. They were the sole inspiration behind this, so it's good to go back to your roots. Scrolling down now, yes Killer Nemo, this is a video and you are in it. And Naiva, let's see at the end, but you seem to be doing a horrible job trying to get France to lose, seeing as you are in the top 20%. Going further, in the survey, I made people pick options to describe themselves, so I see the average of a specific group. That didn't include skin makers, unfortunately, so the one honorary skin maker goes to Imis, as I forgot to make that an option. Let's see if you make the skin makers proud. Mackie Donalds Jr. really stood out for being the only one to guess the wrong button again in this section, and Andy Taffel, what do you mean when you see it? Oh my goodness, Zenkai, you two are so in sync, you should finish each other's sentences. Coco Mallows, you do not have to worry, because you are in the top 50% of all contestants. And no way, is that actually Wendy Williams who filled out my survey? I'm so honoured and astounded. Let's speed this up now. I'm going to scroll through the rest of the leaderboard, so you can see where you and everyone else stands, whilst I point out some other funny responses. First of all, there were 133 mentions of 6-7 in the survey, yet only 47 of 727. Are we leaving the Osu Renaissance? Fate's Day Night mistakenly put 6-7 as one of their responses to a question, and seems to be regretting it. But we won't be regretting the person above them, Jazz, saying Free Palestine, and to also stream Madonna. AlicJ01 seems to be adamant to gift a month of supporter to 10 of the responders in this video. Seems like you have to do it now. I wonder who those lucky few will be. And before we scroll right to the end, shout out to Pasteliano for saying trans lives matter. We are now at the bottom of everyone's responses. Everyone here needs to catch up. Tom, Rakus and Record, you guys need to lock in and stop talking about Mpreg and start scoring points. And Batball, thank you so much. That is so nice. I really hope nobody does find out what I did in 1999. It seems like a lot of the people down here are a lot kinder. Thank you Evil for reminding us to spend time with our loved ones. And Perth again, aka Luciano, for asking us to be less judgmental. I wouldn't say the same about Silver Gunner, and no, I'm not going to answer that. That's the entire leaderboard. We'll move on shortly, but if you have yet to see yourself or any of your friends, here's the leaderboard again, but in alphabetical order of everyone's usernames. Now, how much will these scores differ? Will new faces appear and dominate the leaderboard at the end? Who will succeed and win against 400 other contestants? We'll just have to wait and see throughout the next 9 questions. Let's move on and continue now. Question 11 urged people to take a risk, but would it be taken? The risk in question was a potential gain of 5 entire points, but only if less than 25% of all responders chose that option. Another option would be a guaranteed 1 point no matter what, but who prevailed? The safe people did, with a whopping 40% of people taking the risk of 5 extra points, leading to 164 people earning nothing, whilst 244 people got their guaranteed 1 point. Now let's move on to question 12. Question 12 was extremely funny. Similar to the part 1 survey, it asked everyone to type a 3-letter word, which I was very clear on. If the 3-letter word was an English word and was unique, not matching with anyone else's words, you'd get a point. If else, you wouldn't earn anything. Surprisingly, 201 people got a unique and valid English word, whilst 207 people fumbled. What really surprised me in this question is that I gave 2 example words, cat and ink. Cat was unfortunately said by 4 people trying to take a risk, but somehow only one person, Kelanimo, said the other word ink, so they got a crazy point here. Well done for taking a risk. Some others faltered, however. Angelical said pneumono ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Dupe said Colorado, which makes no sense as the state doesn't even have 3 sides. It has 4, let alone 3 letters. Hey Kuma was the only one to say gay. Whilst not 3 letters, LS Gavin said lepidopterology, which is apparently a branch of entomology focused on butterflies. So that's the fun fact for the day. Jong Jin Seol said hippopotomonstrosesquipedaliophobia, which is literally the fear of long words, and an exact copy of Inveko from the first iteration of the survey. Now, I'm sure you're wondering if your word matched with anyone else's. I will show everyone's words now. If your word is in green, you successfully scored a point. I wouldn't say the same if your word was in red though. Lastly, before we move on, the words seem to be more spread out, with the most guessed words being ooh, wax and cat, with 4 mentions each. Enough about words, let's see what question 13 has in store for us. Question 13 is, what? More words? Ugh. This time I asked for a 5-letter word. If the word was in the middle 20% of everyone's words alphabetically, you would earn a point. Moreover, if it was unique, you'd gain an additional point, but only if it was in the middle. 50 people managed to get in the middle and have a unique word, with 31 managing to just get in the middle with less originality, which unfortunately led to 327 people earning nothing. The ranges of words that got a point from the middle 20% went from Judas, submitted by Kerbo, to Melts, submitted by Zadrico. Well done Pi for managing to be right on the middle with the word livid. 8 people guessed lines, which despite the unoriginality led to everyone scoring in the middle, so well done to you all for that. However, 10 people guessed myrrh, which was not in the middle, so 10 you didn't earn anything, including Myrrh who typed myrrh. Way to stay on your brand. And lastly, fart poo, you really suck at these word questions, because what is this? You need to be sent to English lessons. Alright, like last question, I'm going to scroll through everyone's words. You should know the drill by now. Now, let's move on to question 14. Question 14 was simpler, asking people to pick their favourite mod from 5 options. Double Time, Nightcore, Hidden, Hard Rock, or an extra option called Other. Answering in the majority would earn you a point. Nice and simple. I intentionally made the other option much larger to try and entice people to pick that, as it stood out. But people seemed to hold onto their guns, with a whopping 227 people saying Double Time. 71 said Other, 62 said Hidden, 26 said Hard Rock, and only 22 said Nightcore. Maybe this data is useful to snipe out who here is farming performance points on Osu. You dirty DT farmers. Let's speed on to question 15. Question 15 was another image question, asking everyone to pick what they deemed to be the most comfortable pattern between 1-2 jumps, wide-angled diamond jumps, the Camino Kotoba pattern, or a flowy Dorchadas pattern. If you answered in the majority, you'd earn 1 point, but to satisfy those who play more niche playstyles, you'd also earn a point if you were in the minority. There was basically no argument to be said here though, as 271 people guessed the 1-2 jumps, with the 39 people in the minority picking the Camino Kotoba jumps. So the 52 people who picked the wide-angled and 46 who picked the flow jumps, you guys just aren't cool enough to be in either crowd and therefore got nothing. Let's see if that changes with question 16 however. Question 16 was directed towards my community in Osu, the B-Map creators, asking everyone to pick what slider they preferred between an artistic dagger, a round curve, or a boring linear slider. Answering it in the minority would earn you 2 points, whilst being in the middle would earn you 1 point. The majority would not earn anything however, since we are striving for uniqueness in this question. The bland 180 people who picked the round curve slider, however, you weren't unique enough and sadly got nothing, whilst 141 people picked the linear slider, earning you a point. So well done to the artsy 87 who earned 2 points with the artistic dagger. Enough with these pictures though, let's move on to the meta questions, starting with question 17. Question 17 asked everyone to guess how many people responded in this survey. As we know already, 408 people responded, so those who answered 308 to 508 within a 100-person gap earned a point here. Some people were extremely optimistic, and honestly, so was I. 32 people said 727, which is crazy, as well as a few hundred guessing within the 1000s, which, if I ever did this again, I'd really like to have. Maybe not as many as Kazuki or Jazz said, with 8,150 and 6,942,069 respectively. Some people weren't so optimistic on the other hand. Rusty said 7, just 7. I guess it would have been easier to win if that were the case. 75 people managed to guess in the correct range to score a point here, whilst 333 of you weren't in the range. So let's just move on to question 18. Question 18 asked everyone to guess what the average rank of everyone who submitted a response to this survey was. Guessing within 5,000 of the true answer would grant you a point. Everyone's rank average in the survey came to a whopping super low 60,177. I assumed it would be a lot lower, but it seems like we had a lot of hidden 6 digits hiding in the shadows. Some people had the same prior thought as me, but to some extremes. Alex Yoshi said everyone's average rank would be 30, whilst Prokestel said 60, and 921206025887, aka Istray, said 212. What is that I hear? On the other hand, Caro said 166 million, which yeah, okay, sure. In this question, 33 people managed to score a point, guessing in the range. Well done to you all, leaving 375 people to perpetually D-rank with 1 less point. It is now time to move on to the final question, question 19. The final question asked how many points people earned prior to this very question the average person won throughout the survey. I gave people some help by saying the maximum points in an ideal scenario was 27, and the minimum was -2. The average person scored a respectable 9.3 points. So when I show the final leaderboard, if you earned 9 or 10 points or higher, you can say you are smarter than the average Osu player. In this question, if you guessed 9 or 10, you would have earned a crucial final point. which 35 people managed to achieve, leaving 373 pointless. This question was actually the sole determiner of the winner, which is insane, as before this, we had a 6-way tie for first, which I will reveal later in the leaderboard. But only one person guessed the correct answer in that tie, so it became this survey's sole winner. Most people seem to think the average would be higher, with the average of everyone's responses in this question guessing that the average would win 13.8 points. Seems like people overestimated their skill. Some people seem to lose their brain power at the end of this survey, unfortunately. Cole Caulfield said no and gave up. And you know what, fart poo, like, whatever, I actually don't care anymore. Now, I think I know what you are all wondering. Let's see the final score, but this time, let's reveal it from bottom to top of the leaderboard and work our way upwards. I will now scroll through this leaderboard with minimal talking, as I'm sure you are excited to see the final scores. Don't you dare skip to the end. But first, we need to show off the last places, off in the Hall of Shame. Who scored the lowest? Unfortunately, Bunyo on top and the Joker 2903, you guys tied for last place with only 3 points, with an 8-way tie for second to last place. At least the 3 bottom places from the halfway break locked in, as they managed to rise up the ranks, with only Rattus and Wreckage showing here. Tom skyrocketed, and you can't even see them down here. Well done to you guys. And now, let's scroll up. Good luck! We are now at the top 53. I will reveal each person in dramatic suspense. Congrats to everyone else here though, you made it so close to the top rankings. Well done to Fooders for scoring so high again after winning the first survey, and well done to Aki and Levenhook Lover for representing the other modes. Will there be a catch player to score higher? We shall see. Everyone past this point has scored 13 points or higher. Well done. If I say your name, you will have been bestowed one of the highest honours. Gaz, Namkak, Carol Can Game, Slep, Darker Sniper, Matt Saku, Scarlet, Snafu TX, H2 Key, Iron, Essence, Cluxy, Azriel, Disorderium, Young Leosia, Brandwagon, Nerd the Box, Axiomatism, Talus, Dask, Akito, Riverism, Lilywise, SQL Slammer _LV, Rhetoric, My Angel Nizuna, Minisbet, Soul Moss, Kak0428, Lazup, and Mirami Fox. Each and every one of you scored 13 points. Massive congrats. But now, who scored higher? My ult's this: Restricted, Arc Shadow, Miji Inubashiri, Rogar, Luna, Fire, HKEFP, Zabu, Prakestol, Tofa, Argon, XX Joeswag 727XX, Kelanemo, 128, and Zimperial. Now, 6 people remain, 5 with 15 points, 1 with 16, to beat everyone else. If I say your name, you are in the top 6, and I'll reveal the winner afterwards after everyone has been mentioned. 300mm, Nope KJK, Misted, U_U, Plambob, Xcores. Here are 2 familiar faces from the halfway break, with 4 people rising to catch up. And now I must reveal the sole winner of the OSU survey is... Misted! Congratulations! With 16 points, you have proven to everyone that you are objectively better than them. Use this video as bragging rights to anyone you come across, whether it be on OSU or in real life at your next dentist checkup. We are not done yet. We have more stats to cover. Who was the smartest objective group of players overall? Was it the beatmap nominators who see so many beatmaps a day? Or is it the medal hunters who play so many beatmaps a day? Taking out obvious lies in the dataset, running the numbers, the tournament committee group is the smartest group in OSU, with an average of 15 points between only one player. Nope, KJK. Well done, but that seems a bit inaccurate. No need to worry, as our next smartest group statistically is the global moderation team, with 3 people in it, scoring an average of 10.6 points, just above the average. Other than that, it seems like everyone else who wasn't in a defined group, just under 400 people, defaulting to a regular OSU player, scored an average of 9.4 points, just above the 9.3 average from earlier, showing that other groups, despite their way smaller sample size, may not be as smart. And no, I don't mean this literally. With 11 people in the Project Love committee, scoring only 9.2 on average, the 5 beatmap spotlight curators didn't fare any better, as they scored 8.75 on average. 16 beatmap nominators scored an even lower 8.6 on average, leading to the 2 NAT to score 8.5 on average. Don't beat yourselves up over this, guys, as the sample size was tiny. There were other groups which I'd also like to believe are official, that only had 1 member each, like the proud owner of Team Take, including Take. We also have Vilami, who is technically a featured artist, as she has a song featured in OSU community music. Go listen to her official OSU song and other music. Naue is in the World Cup design team. Ooh, sparkly! And we have Happy_24, who is an intern working on laser ranked play. What about how people primarily describe themselves as players subjectively? I gave people 4 options: player, beatmap creator, tournament player, or moderator. Between these, 64 tournament players scored the highest average, with 9.9 points between them. Is there an overwhelming ranked point correlation? We shall see. Over 200 casual players scored the second highest, with an average of 9.5, with only 3 moderators scoring an average of 9.3, scraping it. Which leads to the second blunder of the beatmap creator side of OSU, with 96 beatmap creators scoring an average of only 8.7 points. Now, what mode is the smartest? With 339 standard players, they took the gold with an average of 9.5 points. Tycho's 25 got an average of 9.1, with the 8 people in catch scoring an average of 8.4, with Mania close behind with only an average of 8.3. Lastly, was there a correlation between players' ranks and their points? Shockingly, not really. The correlation coefficient using PMCC is negative 0.011, which basically says that there is, albeit a very negligible, negative correlation between ranks and points. So technically, the worse your rank, the better you performed. But because this value is so low, it's safe to say that there just isn't any correlation. Take all of these values I've just said with a grain of salt. Smaller groups lead to lower sample sizes and less reliable data. I'm grateful that we even have any data points for any groups, and let's be honest, the survey isn't the end-all be-all objective test for IQ, but just a fun survey. Once again, thank you to each and everyone for participating and for those who watched. Please join the OSU Stats Discord where I will do more of these. I'm currently in the process of expanding the server into hosting tournaments for players and mappers alike for all skill ranges, so feel free to join the community. Furthermore, as usual, the full dataset is in the description to view in all of its glory. Keep in mind that all of it has all of the raw values, pie charts and statistics mentioned in the video and more. It is also uncensored, so be warned, as I wasn't able to check every single answer, but for some I did catch, they were censored in the video to the best of my ability, and I couldn't just delete them because the results had already been calculated by then. Thanks again, and as the legend says, see you next time.